Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Tech Guild. I'm excited to have you here with me today as we explore the end of an era in the world of technology. Today's video is about bidding farewell to the iconic Windows 7. We'll be taking a look back at this operating system and what it meant for the industry. But before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank you all for joining me for this special occasion. As we say goodbye to Windows 7, we can reflect on the impact it had on the world of technology. I hope you'll join me as we delve into this topic and remember the significance of this moment. It boasted a number of new features and improvements over its predecessor, Windows Vista, including better performance, improved user interface, and enhanced security. The history of Windows operating system. In the very beginning of the personal computer industry, there were no operating systems. Users had to enter commands manually to perform tasks, which was a cumbersome process. Then, in 1981, Microsoft released its first operating system, MS-DOS. It was a command line-based operating system that became popular among users due to its ease of use and compatibility with most personal computers. However, MS-DOS had limitations, such as its inability to support multitasking, which led Microsoft to develop a graphical user interface, GUI, operating system called Windows. Windows OS is a series of operating systems developed and marketed by Microsoft. It was first introduced on November 20, 1985, and has since become one of the most popular operating systems in the world. The first version of Windows, Windows 1.0, was a graphical operating system shell for MS-DOS and included support for running multiple applications at once. Windows 2.0, released in 1987, introduced support for VGA graphics and expanded memory. Windows 3.0, released in 1990, was the first widely successful version of Windows and introduced many features that are still used in Windows today, such as the Start menu and File Explorer. Windows 95, released in 1995, was a major milestone in the history of Windows OS. It was the first version of Windows to feature a taskbar, the Windows Desktop, and Internet Explorer. It also introduced support for long file names and plug-and-play. Windows 98, released in 1998, improved upon many of the features introduced in Windows 95 and included support for USB devices. In 2000, Microsoft released Windows ME, which was not as successful as its predecessors. Windows XP, released in 2001, was a major success and became one of the most popular versions of Windows. It introduced many new features such as the Windows Security Center, Windows Firewall, and improved support for wireless networking. Windows Vista, released in 2006, was widely criticized for its performance issues and was not well received by users. However, Microsoft made significant improvements with the release of Windows 7 in 2009, which became one of the most popular versions of Windows ever. Windows 8, released in 2012, introduced a new user interface that was optimized for touchscreen devices. It was not well received by users who preferred the traditional desktop interface, but it did pave the way for future Windows releases. Windows 10, released in 2015, was a major overhaul of the Windows OS and introduced many new features, such as the Cortana Virtual Assistant and the Microsoft Edge web browser. It also marked a shift towards a more modern design language and frequent feature updates. Finally, in 2021, Microsoft released Windows 11, which is the latest version of Windows. It includes many new features, such as a redesigned Start menu and taskbar, improved performance, and better support for touchscreen devices. Throughout its history, Windows OS has had a significant impact on the computer industry. It has enabled users to run multiple applications simultaneously, improved the user interface and overall user experience, and helped to drive the development of new hardware technologies. Windows OS has also played a significant role in the growth and development of the personal computer industry, making computing more accessible and affordable to the masses. A look into Windows 7. Windows 7 was released on October 22, 2009, as the successor to Windows Vista. It was a major improvement over its predecessor, with enhanced performance, improved taskbar, and a streamlined user interface. Windows 7 quickly became popular among users and businesses alike, and it remained the dominant operating system for many years. Over the years, Windows 7 received several updates and service packs, including Service Pack 1 in 2011 and Service Pack 2 in 2016, which brought further improvements and security enhancements to the operating system. However, as technology continued to evolve, Microsoft started to phase out support for Windows 7, with the final update being released on January 14, 2020. Despite the end of support, many users and businesses continued to use Windows 7, but Microsoft urged them to upgrade to newer operating systems like Windows 8.1 or Windows 10 for enhanced security and performance. As of 2023, Windows 7 has largely become obsolete, with many software vendors discontinuing support for the operating system. It's important to note that continuing to use an unsupported operating system can put your computer and data at risk. Reasons for retirement. Windows 7, Microsoft's popular operating system, reached its end of life in January 2020, meaning that the company stopped providing support, updates, and security patches for the system. There are several reasons why Windows 7 retired, including its aging technology and security vulnerabilities. One of the primary reasons for the retirement of Windows 7 is that the technology behind the system has become outdated. Windows 7 was first released in 2009 and was built on an older system architecture that is no longer efficient or effective in today's world. This older system architecture can cause slower performance and longer load times for applications, compared to newer operating systems. Another significant reason why Windows 7 retired is that the system has several security vulnerabilities that make it more susceptible to cyber attacks. As Microsoft stopped providing security updates and patches for the system, it became increasingly vulnerable to new and evolving security threats, including viruses and malware. Hackers and cybercriminals can exploit these vulnerabilities to gain access to users' personal information, passwords, and other sensitive data. The alternatives. Windows 7 users have several options available to them when it comes to upgrading to a newer operating system. Since Microsoft has stopped providing support and updates for Windows 7, the users who continue to use this operating system are vulnerable to security risks and may experience compatibility issues with newer software. Therefore, it is recommended that users upgrade to a newer operating system. We will discuss the options available for Windows 7 OS users who wish to upgrade to a newer operating system, such as Windows 10 or Linux. Option 1. Upgrade to Windows 10. One of the easiest options available for Windows 7 users is to upgrade to Windows 10. This can be done by purchasing a license key and downloading the Windows 10 installation files from Microsoft's website. The upgrade process is straightforward, and users can choose to keep their files and settings intact during the upgrade process. Option 2. Purchase a new computer. Another option for Windows 7 users is to purchase a new computer with a pre-installed operating system, such as Windows 10. This option may be more expensive than upgrading to Windows 10, but it also provides users with a more up-to-date computer that can handle newer software and features. Option 3. Switch to Linux. Linux is a free and open-source operating system that offers a wide range of distributions to choose from, such as Ubuntu, Debian, and Fedora. Many of these distributions are designed to be user-friendly and can be easily installed on most computers. Linux is also known for its security, stability, and customization options. However, it's worth noting that switching to Linux requires some level of technical expertise and may not be suitable for all users. Linux may not support all hardware, and some software applications may not be compatible. Therefore, it's recommended that users research the Linux distribution they wish to install before making the switch. Tips for hesitant upgraders. Upgrading can be daunting, especially if you are hesitant or lack the resources to do so. Here are some tips and advice to help. 1. Understand the benefits. Before upgrading, it's essential to understand the benefits of doing so. Research what the new operating system or technology offers, including new features and improvements to security and performance. Knowing the benefits can help you feel more confident in your decision to upgrade. 2. Evaluate your current system. Make sure your computer meets the requirements for the new operating system or technology. Check the minimum hardware requirements, such as RAM and storage space, to ensure your system can handle the upgrade. If your computer is outdated, consider upgrading or replacing it before upgrading the operating system. 3. Consider the cost. Upgrading to a new operating system or technology can be expensive. However, some software providers offer free upgrades, while others offer discounts to users of older versions. Research the cost and any available discounts to determine if the upgrade is financially feasible for you. 4. Ask for help. If you are unsure about the upgrade process, ask for help from friends, family members, or professionals. There are also many online resources, such as tutorials and forums, that can provide guidance and support. 5. Plan ahead. Before upgrading, create a backup of your important files and data. This ensures that you can easily recover your information if something goes wrong during the upgrade process. Also, plan for any potential downtime or interruptions in service that may occur during the upgrade. 6. Take it slow. If you're hesitant about upgrading, take it slow. Consider upgrading one component or software program at a time, rather than doing everything at once. This can help you feel more comfortable and in control during the process. Potential impact on businesses and governments. The retirement of Windows 7 could have significant impacts on businesses and governments that still rely on the operating system. While Windows 7 will continue to work, Microsoft will no longer provide technical support, security updates, or bug fixes, leaving users vulnerable to security threats. As a result, organizations that continue to use the unsupported operating system could face cybersecurity risks, legal compliance issues, and increased maintenance costs. One potential impact of Windows 7's retirement is increased vulnerability to cyber attacks, as unsupported software is more prone to malware and other security threats. Furthermore, organizations that continue to use Windows 7 may find it difficult to comply with legal regulations and industry standards that require the use of supported software. Another potential impact of Windows 7's retirement is increased maintenance costs, as unsupported software can require more time and resources to maintain and troubleshoot. While some organizations may choose to purchase extended support from Microsoft, this can be costly and may not be a long-term solution. Conclusion. In conclusion, Windows 7 was a significant chapter in the history of computing, and it is sad to see it go. However, with the end of support, it is time for users to upgrade to a more modern and secure operating system. As we say farewell to Windows 7, we remember the legacy it has left behind and the impact it has had on the world of technology. If you are still using Windows 7, it is time to upgrade to a newer operating system. Windows 10 is a great option that is still receiving updates and support from Microsoft. You can also consider switching to a different operating system such as Mac OS or a Linux distribution. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos on technology advancements and discussions. Please do check our channel, as you might also like our other videos on related topics. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to continuing to bring you more great content from the Tech Guild channel.